Heather, and welcome back to my kitchen. Today I'm going to be slow roasting a chicken, the delicious and easy way. So when I pick out a chicken, I usually go for a small one because for two people we don't really need much. But it depends on how many people you're going to have. Bear in mind there's bones in it and things. So I usually go for about a 2.5 pound chicken, which is what this one is. If you have like 4 people, you might want to go for a 4 pound chicken. I would probably do about just over a pound per person. It depends also on how many leftovers you want, but just over a pound per person should be more than enough. I also like to choose chickens that have free access to the outdoors and all sorts of things. I find that they actually taste different. One year I bought one of those really fancy turkeys for Thanksgiving that had all the access to the outdoors. It was one of those happy turkeys. You got to look at a video of it before. And I had people who weren't there calling me to ask me, oh my God, I heard your turkey was so good. What did you do to it? Da 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 da. And I did nothing special to that turkey. I was actually a strict vegetarian at the time, and I had never cooked a turkey in my life. But I credit it just being a happy turkey that had access to the outdoors and all that. You know, how animals are meant to be raised. So I got this, it's all the, happy chicken. And they're not that much more expensive. This was $2.99 a pound. So, you can still be responsible and on a budget. Anyway, so we're going to do a slow roast of this. I find that when you slow cook them in the oven, they come out a little bit more juicy and tender than when you do it on a higher heat. And fast roast it. So I currently have my oven set to 275. I'm not sure if you can see that. So it's set to 275, and I'm gonna cook it for 3 hours. You do this because it's a 2.5 pound chicken. If you have a bigger chicken, if you have like a 4 pound chicken, I would do it for 4 hours. So somewhere between 3 and 4 hours, depending on the size. If you have a smaller one, 3 hours. If you have a bigger one, 4 hours. You should always check the internal temperature, make sure it's at least 160 degrees, and check it in the fattest part of the breast. Stick it in all the way to the fattest part of the breast and have your thermometer say that it's 160 or above, and then it's safe to eat. Okay, now that we've gotten through the time and the food safety, I'm going to show you how to prepare your chicken. Okay, so here we are at the kitchen sink. We've got the bird, and now we need to make sure that all the giblets are out. Normally they come in a little packet. I think this one came kind of pre-prepared, so it shouldn't have any giblets in it. And it's got all the, and you need to rinse your bird. Always rinse it, this is very important. I just kind of, and then you're gonna pat it dry. Make sure it's really dry, because if it's wet still, the skin won't get crispy. The whole thing is to get it really dry so the skin gets crispy. And now take your now very dry bird and put it into your roasting pan. I like to just use my regular Pyrex and line it with tin foil, shiny side up always, because it makes it hotter. Or at least I read that somewhere. Just because I'm lazy and I don't really like to deal with the cleanup, so I always line it with the tin foil. That way I can just lift it out, throw it out. Okay, so I'm gonna double it because it has been known to leak on me in the past. Okay, now we take our very dry bird from the sink, place it in there. I'm gonna rinse my hands since I just touched raw chicken. And now we get to the vegetable and stuffing part. I'm trying to do a little bit of a low carb thing right now. So normally, I don't like stuffing, so normally I'll put wild rice in it, which is really good. I cook it, it has to already be cooked, and I'll put a lot of celery into it because the celery gets a really nice flavor from the chicken, and I'll stuff it with wild rice, which is a really nice side. And then you can put little potatoes and carrots underneath it so they catch the drippings while they cook, and you'll have like a nice wild rice, chicken, and vegetable all in one pot, easy cleanup. Today I'm gonna stuff it with veggies. Remember those really cool, nice green onions I picked up at the farmer's market last weekend. Some carrots, also that celery that I've been trying to use up. I always put cloves of garlic underneath the skin. You slide it in between the skin and the meat. Gives it a really nice flavor. And oranges, stick a half of an orange inside, always gives it a nice flavor. I don't have any oranges in the house. I've got these little, like the little mandarin clementine halos, that, you know, the easy peel ones. Don't peel it though, just rinse it, slice it in half, you'll be done. Mix it all together with, I was gonna put some mushrooms into it, salt, pepper, a little bit of sage pat on top, and ready to go. Hi, now I'm back and we are ready to stuff up this chicken. I have the garlic sliced and ready to stick under the skin, and my vegetables sliced and ready to put in. What doesn't fit inside the chicken, you can just stick underneath to catch all those really good tasty drippings, and everything will get nice and tasty. Okay, so now I'm going to stuff it full of the veggies. I'm gonna start with one of the halves of the mandarin, just stick it all the way back in. Some mushrooms, some of the carrots. I don't want to stick my chickeny hand in there. I'll rinse the bag afterwards. Last thing you want to do is spread salmonella. Stick some of these in. Down some of these onions. Put them against the chicken meat so that it gets a little bit of that onion flavor in the meat. Take that other half, stick it on top. And now I'm gonna use cooking twine. If you don't have cooking twine, I've used all sorts of stuff in the past, from sewing thread to all sorts of stuff. As long as you can get it tied together, it's fine. And if not, it's not the end of the world. It holds all the stuff in if you can get this tied together. So I go a few times around and then tie it in a knot. Grab your cooking shears, snip it off, nice and trussed. And then what I like to do with all the rest of the veggies is I just put it in the bottom of the pan. It'll catch all the good yummy chicken drippings. I'm putting this celery at the bottom. I'm gonna actually end up making a cream of celery soup with it. It's gonna be really tasty because it's gonna have all that chicken drippings and everything. And I'm gonna end up using these two bigger I just sliced one of those big green onions in half to use, because I think that it's just gonna be really tasty and a nice creamy soup. Okay. And that brings us to the stage of sticking these garlic cloves under the skin. So I poke a few different holes around. Actually, this knife is not poking. You can do it with your little scissor or something. Just poke some holes into your chicken. This is my mom's old trick. She used to stick the garlic into the skin. Just poke some holes around. I use a lot of garlic. Depends on how much garlic you like. If you like garlic a lot, use a lot. If you don't like garlic, you don't have to do it at all. You can skip this step. Just stick the garlic in underneath the skin. See that? Just take it and slide it into one of these holes. See that? It's right under the skin, between the skin and the meat. And that'll make your chicken nice and garlicky. And you could even use the same hole and then just kind of spread them around from there. Really easy. Okay, and now you're gonna season both the front and back of your beautiful chicken. You can see I've stuffed all the garlic into the back side also. Some pepper, salt. I always do a little touch of sage, just gets it all nice into the veggies. Depends if you like sage or not. You can always stick some thyme into it. It's all depending on what you like, your personal tastes. Make sure that's all in there. I'm just rinsing my hands before I touched my salt and pepper again, just because I don't want to cross-contaminate anything with salmonella. Kitchen safety is always important because cooking from home, you don't want to get sick, you know? And now I'm ready to stick it in the oven. Okay, now your chicken's in the oven and you can relax. Set your timer for 2.5 to 3 hours, depending on which next option you choose. I was at the grocery store and found this really cool roasting glaze. I've never used it before, but I'm gonna try it with you guys. The directions say to paint it onto your bird, you know, those little like cooking paint brushes, every 10 minutes for 30 minutes. So I'm gonna set my timer for 2.5 hours, or you can do my traditional way that I normally do it. Set it for 3 hours or 4 if you're the bigger bird. And when you take it out, sprinkle sumac on top. I love sumac. Sumac's this Middle Eastern berry that they make this spice out of, and the spice has a little bit of a citrusy kick to it. It's really delicious on chicken. Anyways, you can just sprinkle that on before you let your chickens rest. You have to let your chicken rest after you pull it out for about 30 minutes. So it'll let the flavors seep in and everything. It's really good. Now while I'm waiting, I'm gonna make myself a nice frozen cocktail and go down to the pool. And now you can enjoy the pool and your chicken can finish cooking. Hi, I've taken a little pool break to come up and do some basting. Now all you have to do is get your oven mitts on so you don't burn yourself, which I'm notorious for doing. Pull this out. Okay. Looking really good. Take that turkey sauce that I had gotten earlier, thinking it would be really good on this, and brush it on nice and thick. Make sure you do it thick. Really impart the flavor in. Get all the sides. Now come back in 10 more minutes, do it again. I'm gonna do this 3 times and then our chicken will be done. So I'm nice and dried off now and our chicken is ready to pull out of the oven. Okay. So I'm gonna check the temperature now, stick it into that thickest part of the breast to make sure that it's at 160 degrees. Perfect, 163.7. We are ready to let it sit now. You have to kind of let it rest for about 30 minutes after you pull it out. Then you can cut it up and serve it. Here is our roast chicken. Nice and browned with veggies underneath. And there we are, nice, perfect baked chicken. Okay, now this has sat for a bit and I'm ready to undo it. Just gonna gingerly lift it out. Oh, it's like butter. I told you the chicken gets really tender. Look at that, it just snapped right in my hands. And then you have this nice sauce down here. See all that juicy gravy? I'll show you how to make a nice gravy in a second. And now, as you can see, I basically desiccated this bird. The meat was so tender, it just basically fell off the bone. It's just gonna be absolutely delicious. I've taken it, here's the vegetables that were inside and underneath. Those are the bones and cartilage and bits that I'm gonna use tomorrow to make some bone broth out of. That was the celery and large chopped onion that's gonna go into my cream of celery soup tomorrow. This is gonna become our gravy, and I'm just gonna squeeze some of these mandarins that were inside over it to give it a nice, fresh flavor. Okay, now I'm gonna show you how to turn these drippings into delicious homemade gravy. And yes, if you've noticed, I have changed my shirt. If you're anything like me, you've probably eaten an eighth of that chicken and spilled on yourself several times already. Okay, so what you're gonna wanna do is take these drippings. I usually just take the whole foil thing and strain it into a pot. Okay, so now you have all the ickiness strained out. You can start the heat. You'll notice I tossed my tin foil liner, just threw it in the trash can. Easy, no cleanup. Now while that's heating up, you're gonna slowly, I have some flour right here, and I'm gonna slowly start stirring in the flour to thicken this. Very slowly, a little bit goes a long way. You don't want the hot gravy to clump. So if you pour the flour in too fast, it'll start clumping in the gravy because it actually will cook. So you'll have like little mini dumplings in there, which is funny. So you just start slowly stirring it in, very slowly, until it gets to your desired thickness. And there you have it. Delicious roasted chicken. I have tonight's with my homemade gravy on it and a side of vegetables, super healthy. And tomorrow, for all the smaller pieces, I sent my husband salads in his lunch. I have all the smaller pieces on top of a nice healthy salad for lunch tomorrow. 2 healthy meals and 1 roasted chicken.